If you're an estate agency owner in 2026 and you haven't got a YouTube channel already, you're already being left behind. Not only that, it's also costing you clients. In today's video, we're going to go through and show you why YouTube should be a crucial part of your growth strategy in 2026 and why ignoring it can be costing you thousands of pounds in commission every single year. My name is Chris Webb. I'm the owner of the Estate Agent Consultancy. I've been an agent for over 20 years and I work with the top self-employed estate agents up and down the country to be the obvious choice for sellers in their local area. So first of all, let's get a really good understanding about why we should be on YouTube. Obvious thing to say here, but everyone's on their phone all day, every single day. In fact, the average sort of middle-aged person is on their phone for about 4 hours every single day. And YouTube is one of the biggest search platforms in the world. So in the same way you want to prioritize yourself appearing high up on Google, you also want to prioritize yourself showing up on YouTube as well. Now, personally, I see YouTube as like a problem-fixing website. If you have a problem with your central heating, for example, you've got an issue with your car, probably one of the first places you go to is go to YouTube and see, how do I fix this problem? I've got an issue with my boiler, how do I fix it? I've got an issue with my car, how do I fix it? And people are doing that up and down the country, but with regard to their home. How do I get the best price for my property? How much should I be looking to pay an estate agent? Are estate agents' fees negotiable? Should I replace my kitchen or should I not replace my kitchen? These are all common questions that people will be asking before they want to sell their property. And simply put, if you're the local expert answering these questions for them, this puts you in a really good position going forward. So this is more important now than ever. With the rise of AI and AI-created content, this is producing more and more content online, and people are more and more skeptical about content they're seeing online. Is it even real, the stuff I'm watching? Is it even a real person that I'm engaging with here? So you can imagine the value that it adds to have a real person who's a real property expert in the local area, who's been an agent for the last 10 years, for example, and literally just helps people out in the local area, answering their questions that they're thinking about before they want to go on the market. For someone who's been there, done that, and most definitely got the t-shirt. And one of the biggest changes with regard to how we buy things these days is we don't really want to buy things from strangers. We've got a little bit of a fear from people being strangers on the internet. Ideally, we want to buy things from people that we know, like, and trust already. Fortunately, or unfortunately, depending where you sit on this, our brain is very much on Darwin 1.0 operating system. This means that you can't tell the difference between me sitting on a screen in front of you and me sitting in a room next to you. Your brain just thinks, I'm sat next to you having a conversation. It hasn't quite evolved to the fact that video content is a thing. I'm not actually in the same room with you. This is why if you see your favorite actor walking down the street, for example, you'll probably run up to them like a mad person and say, oh my God, Brad Pitt, I love your films. And they'll look at you like you're absolutely starkers because you've got a really good idea. You feel like you know, like, and trust them already, but they've got absolutely no idea who you are already and wondering how they can run away the quickest. So YouTube can be a brilliant way of building this trust before you've even engaged with someone. They can watch all your content. They can see that you're an expert before they even pick up the phone and engage with your business. And this is absolute gold in 2026. And to go alongside this, there's actually a proven winning formula that we can follow to show how well this works. And actually, this is worked out by Google. So they've got a few pounds to work out the research on this. And this is the 7-11-4 formula. So we've covered this quite a lot of times in the channel already, but if you're new to it, effectively what we're looking at here, before someone likes and trusts you, they've got to see you for 7 hours worth of content. So that could be 7 hours face to face, it could be 7 hours over screen. Any way that your eyes are seeing that person for 7 hours of time, you will know, like, and trust them in some way. Think about your friends, your family, your relatives. You've probably seen them for well over 7 hours, therefore they're probably the people you trust most in your life. 11 is 11 marketing touch points. So have they seen each bit of marketing from you 11 times? Have they seen you 11 times? Have you seen your board? Have they seen your branded car? Have they seen a leaflet from you? All these things add up to building trust over time. Whereas if it's just the first time you've seen them, you're like, I've got no idea who this person is. I don't trust them in any way, shape or form. But once you've seen them time and time again, that trust grows over time. And finally, number 4 is 4 different locations or mediums. This might be, you might see me on a YouTube video, for example, you might see me at an event, you might see me walking on the high street, you might see a leaflet, you might see a board. All these things add up in different locations. A little bit of a spoiler here, if you want someone to like you more, meet them in different locations. So if you go on a first date, go to the cinema, don't go to the cinema on the second date because they'll like you more if you go to a different location. The more people see you in different settings, generally the more they like you. When I talk to most agents in the country, usually the 2 boxes they tick quite easily are the 11 marketing touch points and the 4 different locations. But the 7 hours worth of content and engagement is one they really struggle with. Now, YouTube is a brilliant way of doing this. Do I expect you to sit there and record a 7-hour video? Absolutely not. We're not looking for like Titanic times by 2. But what you can do is do multiple videos that are 10, 15, 20 minutes long, and over time they'll add up that 7 hours worth of trust with you and your potential client going forward. So by the time you turn up on the market appraisal, they're like, I watched your video and presentation and I've done that. I watched your video with the guy preparing my garden. I've done all the tips and advice you said about. And you're like, great, like they think I'm the local expert and they know I'm the local expert. Of course, I'm the obvious choice here. That is the real value of producing video content and having a YouTube channel for your business. So let's talk about views on your videos. Now, there is a massive misconception out there. Now, if you are a Mr. Beast or a massive influencer, yes, views pay your bills. If you're getting 1 million views on a video, I'm sure it provides you a moderately decent income in the grand scheme of things. But when you actually look at the cost per click and cost per view of that video, it might be a penny or a couple of pence per view. It isn't massive. So you need that enormous scale of millions and millions of people watching your content to actually give you a paycheck that actually makes it worthwhile. We are not going into that race, to be absolutely crystal clear. We are not focusing on massive, massive views for your content. So if you think you're going to wake up one morning and go, oh my goodness dear, I've got 1 million views on that video, not going to happen. Simply not going to happen. And if that does happen, you're focusing on the wrong thing in your business. But what we are looking for here, instead of having 1 million random people who live in America, Asia, Africa, everywhere apart from your core area, what we're looking for is a real niche of people who are actually your ideal client. I would much rather have 500 people watch my video who are my perfect client than 1 million people who are in nowhere near my ideal client and lived all over the world, everywhere apart from where I want to operate my business. That is a vanity over sanity metric. And really, we just want sanity for your business here. So we understand that we're not really focusing on views in our business. So views are not really of interest to ourselves in a massive way. Yes, we obviously want to get some views. Getting 0 views is no good. We want to get in front of the right people in the local area. What we really want to watch here is our watch time. So how long are people watching our videos for? If they're watching a video from start to finish every single time, shows they found value in that content. So for example, let's take this video as an example. This is not designed to be a particularly exciting video. You know, I've got a lamp, I've got a little plant over here, and it's me and a piece of paper. But my mindset, if I had like fireworks, bazookas, rockets, you'd probably watch it for all that exciting stuff. But the reality is, if you're willing to watch this from start to finish, you're someone who wants to grow their estate agency business and probably someone who would work well with ourselves. Whereas halfway through the video, I shredded a Lamborghini, for example, you're probably just watching it to see that Lamborghini get shredded. So actually, my goal is to make my videos pretty much as boring as possible, because I know that if you're willing to watch a slightly boring video on a topic, you are looking to grow your estate agency business. So therefore, you're probably an ideal client for ourselves. You should think in exactly the same way. Yes, there's an element of sort of entertainment in there as well, but if I want to fix a problem, I don't care about things blowing up. If I go, I've got a problem with selling my house, or how do you set an asking price, or should you have a sale board in the front garden, I don't really need to see explosions in that video to make it work for me. I need someone to clearly explain the pros, the cons, and what they recommend with all the advice they've got. So generally speaking, if our watch time is going up, we are most definitely on the right track. Over time, yes, your subscribers will grow, but this isn't going to get into tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, because if that happens, basically you're spreading yourself too thin. You are not niching down enough in your core territory and your core message you're trying to get across to people who might be watching your videos. So let's look at actually how YouTube works and how we can get you in front of the right people in your local area. So there's 3 steps to this. So step number 1 in our sales funnel is going to be short form content. Short form content gets eyeballs on your content. So for example, there's only so many long format content videos you can watch in one day. Let's say the average video is 15, 20 minutes long. There's only so many hours in the day and time people are going to commit to watching that video. Whereas short form content, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, scroll, scroll, scroll. You can get through it really, really quickly. And this is actually going to push engagement up with your profile. So think about this as almost like the hook. That's a hook, in case you're wondering. That is almost the hook for your profile. That is to get people to go, hey, if you like this little 30-second clip, I've got some more really cool stuff behind the scenes you'll absolutely love. You're gonna take a little bit more time because in a little more detail, you're gonna love the rest of the content we've got behind the scenes. So short form content is there to get engagement. That is where you are looking at the views, the likes, the comments, for example. That is literally you casting a line out saying, hey, here's a little snippet about what we're about as a business. This might be able to help you. Next down the line is our long format video. So this is 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half-hour long content that is there to build trust with you. You kind of hook them in and say, hey, you like this stuff? I'm a local expert in selling your property. If you like this little short form stuff, come have a look at some of this long form stuff. We've got some really good content in our channel. This is there to build trust. This is where we start doing those 7 hours of content, start chipping away. If we try and build 7 hours of trust with short form content, you need to do over 400 videos to get 7 hours worth of exposure to your content. And trust me, people aren't going to remember the first 100 or 200 videos when they get to the end of that. So simply put, we need to get people onto the long format content so they gain trust with you and your business and realize that you know what you're talking about and absolutely know your stuff when it comes to selling property in the local area. Now, step number 3, this is the bit that everyone misses out. This is the one that I see people missing all the time, and it's probably the most important part of it. And this is the lead section. So for example, let's go through this. We've short form content it. They've seen our content. They like the short form stuff. They go, okay, let's click on their profile. Let's see what else they've got. Great. They've got some really good long format content. They're talking about fixing the problem that I have with selling my home or marketing my home at the moment. Then there needs to be a really easy way of them engaging with your business. We want to make that as obvious as we possibly can do. So for example, if you're watching this video on YouTube, which you probably are, just below here, there is a load of links. And all those links will say to you, great, what's your name, what's your email address, what's your phone number? That is our bridge from you going a stranger on the internet to on our CRM system that we can kind of text or call if you want to and have a conversation with. That is where the bridge is for ourselves. You should have something really similar. So for example, you can have below your video, click just below here and book a time in my diary for a free valuation. Or click just below here to find out what your house is worth in 30 seconds or less. Or just click below here to get our guide all about how to sell your property in Slough. Whatever it may be, it's something where you're doing a little bit of an exchange. So you're saying, give me your name, your email address, and maybe your phone number, and we'll give you the guide, your 30-second valuation, a time in our diary. That is the most important bit of all of this. Otherwise, you're getting people to look at your content, they're engaging with your content, they're trusting you, and then they're clearing off and going elsewhere and going to another agent. And you've just shot yourself in the foot in a massive, massive way. So therefore, getting it over to a lead and getting it into your CRM system is absolutely crucial. Because if I had started a brand new estate agency today and I had one system that had 10,000 contacts in the local area and I had a CRM system with none, I would pick the 10,000 every single day of the week because I can just email them, I can message them, I can WhatsApp them, and I'll probably get my first few instructions just from doing that. Whereas the cold start, better get your trainers on and get out there pretty darn quickly. So what we're effectively doing here is we're getting attention to start off with, then we're building trust, and then we're converting it into a client of our business. That's the lead flow you're looking for YouTube. So now let's talk about what you should be talking about on your YouTube channel. Now, a little bit of a mindset shift here. Your YouTube channel isn't for you, it's for the other person. So you need to think yourself, if I was locked in a pub with someone who's looking to sell their property locally and they could ask me any questions they wanted for the afternoon, few drinks time, over dinner, what questions would they ask me? And it's probably questions like, what's the market like at the moment? Why is my home not selling? Do I need to do this bit of work before I sell my home? What's the difference with regard to the pricing strategies of property? What's an open day? How many offers should I expect on my property? How long does it take to sell? All these questions that people will ask you that you can answer. A little bit of a spoiler here, your knowledge is probably up here. You will probably talk to other estate agents, so therefore you think everyone else's knowledge is up here as well. Sorry to burst the bubble here, everyone else's knowledge is down here. Trust me, I go to the pub and talk to my friends about estate agency, property and selling their homes, and honestly, it's like talking to cavemen. Like literally, they have no idea that is where the public are at today. So you might think to yourself, God, I'm doing a video on what an EPC is. Like everyone knows what an EPC is. Trust me, they don't. You might do a video on pricing models and talk about what offers in excess of means. And you think to yourself, everyone knows what offers in excess of means. Like it's so obvious. Trust me, they don't. So therefore you need to be answering these questions and offering value. You are just there to help. So think to yourself, what's the most helpful information I could pass across and get out there into the world that's going to help people going forward? That is what you should be recording content about. And generally, it's going to fall into one of three big topics. So first of all is pain. So is there a pain point they're dealing with at the moment? Like, why isn't my house selling? Why aren't I getting viewings? Why hasn't my offer been accepted on my next property? These are pain points that people are dealing with. They'll be searching online and they'll be looking for an answer. So first we'll start by looking at pain points that people are dealing with right now in your local area. Next is desire. So what is their outcome they're looking for? How to secure your dream home going forward? How to get a perfect sale for your home? How to achieve a brilliant asking price on your property? These are all desired outcomes that people are looking for. So you can do a lot of content around this, but expectations, what they can expect going forward and what they're aiming for their future self. And final part is the problem section. What is stopping them from getting to where they want to be? Why isn't my home selling? Why aren't I getting viewings on my property, for example? These are all issues that people are going to type into Google and type into YouTube and say, why am I not getting viewings on my house? Why am I not selling? Why did no one turn up for my open day? Why is my agent speaking about dropping my price down? These are all problems that people are dealing with that you can directly answer, and it will just build trust with those clients. Remember, we're just trying to get that 7 number, that 7 hours worth of content. We're just trying to push in that direction by ticking these boxes off. Now let's go really glass half empty and look at why most people either don't do YouTube or they start it and fail going forward. Now I'm gonna give you the real straight answer here. You need to commit to doing YouTube and long form content for at least a year. There we go. I said it. A year of your life, you need to commit to it. So we pushed really heavily into YouTube about a year and a half ago, and I thought to myself exactly the same thing. I need to do this for a year before I expect anything off the other side of it. Now in reality, we actually had video calls and clients come to ourselves after a few weeks or so, which is a really big bonus and high five to us. But I was expecting at least a year of producing 1-2 videos every single week and a short video every single day for a year before I thought I'd get anything off the back of it. It is most definitely an investment. And if you're looking at the views and going, oh, I haven't got 1,000 views on my first video, you're missing the point. If you're like, actually, people have watched my content for 4 hours or 5 hours or 6 hours across the different mediums, great. Well, that's adding up to people trusting you more in the area. So that's what you want to be focused on. If you look at your views, trust me, you're very sadly disappointed very quickly. The next reason people fail is they wait for perfect. They wait for the perfect studio, perfect lighting, even perfect hair. Now, full disclaimer, this is a dining room. This is a plant put on a box. This is a lamp, and this is an iPhone. The only thing I have remotely fancy is my clip-on microphone down here, which was 200 quid or so, because sound quality is really important. Trust me, there's a big push on the algorithm to under-polish videos and under-refined work. This doesn't mean necessarily the message coming out of your mouth needs to be bad, but it doesn't need to be lights, camera, action, studio, perfect sound, perfect hair, fan blur. None of that stuff. If it's just you walking down the street saying, hey, here's some tips and advice when it comes to selling your property, or it's just you sat in your dining room, for example, on a fairly nice chair going, this is my advice I'd give someone if they were struggling to sell, here's my 3 steps. Great. We're not looking for perfect. We're not looking for Hollywood. Hollywood is not what we're going for here. We are looking for real people having real conversations. And it's just you sat in front of a camera saying, hey, I'm Bob, I'm your local estate agent, and this is how I can help you sell your property, and this is some tips and advice that I would be giving myself if I was in that position. Great. That is exactly what we want to get to. We want to get the real person across. So don't let perfection get in the way. Yes, over time, you are going to add things. So for example, we've added the overhead camera, for example, things we've added over time to make our content better. And yes, we'll have the audio process on it to make it a little bit better, but it's all those things to improve over time. Trust me, if you look on anyone's YouTube channel, scroll back, scroll to the oldest videos, and you'll be like, oh my God, this is terrible. Well, that's where we are today. That's literally where we are. So if you're waiting for perfection, it simply isn't going to happen. My advice would be just start. And if you think to yourself, I'm going to struggle to talk to a camera for 10, 15, 20 minutes. If I said to you, give me 3 bits of advice when it comes to getting your property absolutely perfect to go on the market, you might go, well, declutter, do a little bit of touching up to the paintwork here and there, and sort your garden out. Great. Okay, well, that's literally our long format video. 3 steps to avoid a home sale nightmare in Slough. And section 1, right, we're going to talk about decluttering your property and why this is really important. Talk about that for 5 minutes. Then we're going to talk about painting and decorating, doing those small jobs you've always put off the last couple of years, and why it's really important and how that can add thousands of pounds to the value of your property. And finally, why having your garden looking absolutely 10 out of 10 is really important, because people like curb appeal, they like rear gardens, we like barbecues in the UK. This is a really key thing to be getting across. So we're looking at those 3 sections, just put them all together, and basically that produces a YouTube video. Yes, we're going to put an introduction at the beginning of it, and yes, we're going to put an outro at the end of it with some sort of call to action, but really, that's your video content taken care of. So don't see it as producing one long format bit of content. See it as kind of bolting together small videos within a bigger video. So hopefully today has given you a really good idea about why this is a smart move for your business. You know, posting on YouTube is absolutely free of charge. You don't pay a penny for it, and it can make you the expert before you even walk to the front door. This opportunity is massive in your area at the moment. If there's one thing that I'd say agents in the UK are terrible at, it's posting long format content. So if you are ahead of the curve on this, trust me, you'll look back in a year or two's time and you'll really thank yourself for doing it. It's something that is going to pay dividends to your business, but you need to invest the time, effort into it over that time, and realize that it might take 6 months to a year before you get anything off the back of it. But trust me, people will be watching. They will be learning from it. They will be engaging from it. Even if nothing directly comes from it straight away, trust me, it is adding up in the background. That is a wrap on today's video. Hope you're taking some value from it. Get out there and get recording and get your beautiful face on the internet. If you'd like a free copy of my best-selling book, Your First £100,000 Estate Agency, you can click the link just below here, go through to our Instagram page, DM us the word book, and that'll come straight across yourself. I'll catch you on the next video.